What's up, Madridistas, and happy Friday. This is Kiyan Sobhani. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you enjoyed Real Madrid's win over Getafe last night, despite the cost that it came with, which was Rudiger's injury, although thankfully not too serious, and Tchouameni's yellow card. I wanted to introduce today's clip really quickly. We're actually about to jump into a live call with our members on Zoom. And before we do that, I wanted to release a little clip from last night's post-game podcast where Siddharth, Ramsundar, and we broke down that game in great detail for our members. Tactics from both teams, player performances, referee incidents, all of the above. And here are some quick snippets from that. The full episode is in the show notes. You can simply head over to patreon.com/managingmadrid, or if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not a user on Patreon for whatever reason, I know some of you guys can't because of the country you live in, you can simply join the YouTube memberships tab. So, enjoy the clip. Hope to see you on the live call later for members as well. And here we go. So, the starting lineup is really interesting because, well, first of all, you talk about rotations and rest. So, Toni Kroos rested the full 90. You didn't get Ceballos or Fran Garcia, and Arda Güler did not get in, much to the chagrin of many Real Madrid fans who want to see more of him. What was interesting is, like, you see the starting lineup, and you had Modric, Tchouameni, and Valverde in midfield, and Modric and Fede usually take the right center midfielder role, and I was trying to figure out, okay, who's going to go left CM? And as you see it unfold in the field, you realize, well, it's actually more of a 4-3-3, where Jude is actually dropping back as an 8, and Fede is playing the right winger role, and Joselu's up top, Vinny on the left. And it started to kind of make sense what was happening, and we haven't really seen that in a long time. Now, I will say, like, often it shifted between a double pivot and a 4-3-3 and a 4-2-3-1. It kind of shifted throughout the different phases of the game. And Bellingham and Modric were pretty fluid, and we've seen that floating kind of double 10 role in Carlo's system before this season. And it worked. I mean, I thought our chance creation was solid, and our defense held up. You mentioned Mayoral and top scorer. I mean, Getafe has multiple former Real Madrid Castilla players, which is a recipe that one of them, you would have expected one of them to score, because that's what happens. Whenever we face our old players, they only score against us. They didn't today. Rudiger. The challenge on Greenwood was great. It just sucks that ended up being something that he was ended up being injured from.
Yeah, it didn't even look too reckless, but then you see the collision and his, I think his left knee, I think his right foot does the challenge and his left knee collides, or the other way around. But as soon as I saw him limping, I'm like, honestly, if there's a way I would like to see Rudiger get injured this season, that was it. Like, almost, I don't know, most injuries you see them, they're scary. Like, players going down, holding themselves in pain. But it's the least scary when it actually happens after a collision and there's no head involved, no groin, no genitals, nothing. Like, it's just your goddamn foot. Yeah. And the thing is, I have an interesting take here where if Rudiger is hurt, I would argue from that collision, I would argue that means the minutes were already taking a toll on his bones, like, is the best way to put it. If he actually misses extended time from this, and as far as I can tell, that's only for unlucky, where if that collision led to structural damage, which really doesn't happen that often from head-on collisions like that. It wasn't like a bent knee. It was just a collision. So from that perspective, if his bones broke from that, damn, but that probably means there was something wrong. Antonio Rudiger shouldn't go down for that long from that type of challenge, and is one. Two, if it is just like a dead leg, which is what it looked like, that should be easy to recover before the Atleti game, or worst case in a week. It's just almost forced rest for Rudiger, because yes, collisions are bad, but man, most other injuries are things that just affect you more medium term, long term. Like a collision, it's just a bruise, man. It's just get the blood flow back there. The body will fix itself. It's not a big deal. Maybe what if he plays the whole 90 against Atleti and just let him take 45 minutes off, get a training session or two to cool off? What if he's fine? I think that might be the case. Almost like a I wouldn't call it a blessing in disguise, but it's like there's just not many other ways he was going to get a little break, and not many other ways it would have happened from an injury that has no long-term damage. It's really not a big deal. I want to put out there. If Real Madrid's medical staff are worth their salt, there's no way there's anything structural too. They should be fine. I expect 90 minutes against Atletico Madrid.
Uh, and Ancelotti said after the game, like, uh, he was talking about Tchouameni yellow card, and he doesn't really know what happened and why he got it. And then Carlo actually goes to protest the yellow card, and he himself gets booked. So, and I think that was part of the confusion of the Tchouameni yellow card was it didn't show up in the initial stat sheet because it was seemingly at the very last, kick of the game or like after the final whistle, but apparently it was at the end. And Ancelotti said after the game, I don't know why he got a yellow card. And then he went on to further say that Rudiger will probably be recovered in the next 2 days. So I assume we'll see Rudiger get back into the thick of things by the derby, and we'll see Rudiger and Nacho again. Whether that feels rushed back or not, I hope that it won't be, and I hope that it was just a collision knock and nothing more. And I had the same reaction as you said when I saw the way he got injured. It didn't seem as scary to me because he was still kind of limping around on it, and it wasn't like this grueling off-ball action where just the knee twists the wrong way, the ankle twists the wrong way. This seemed like more of just a collision, and it's gonna hurt, and it wasn't that serious. Is what it seems like. The one in the 69th minute was he just kind of shot it right at the goalkeeper, and it was Bellingham who set it up. So Bellingham in this game, 3 key passes. One of them was the pass to Vinny that sets him up on the breakaway. I'm curious to know what your thoughts on Jude's performance was. I thought, again, despite him not scoring or assisting, I thought he had a good game.
People should brace themselves for the drought that's coming because, like, he's just not being asked to be that striker at all now. Like, he's a midfielder now, right? It's completely different. Did you see that today?
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, so like, if you look at how much work he had to do in a deeper position as a left center midfielder today, you could kind of tell that he's not going to get as many scoring chances. I mean, he's dropping deep on the left side, helping the team escape pressure constantly. And he's pressing, he's working really hard defensively. A lot of his job today was to drop and help the team escape pressure. That's not a striker, that's not an attacking midfielder necessarily either. That's just Jude Bellingham playing as an 8. And if he's going to be playing that role, it's natural that his goal contributions are going to drop off a little bit because he can do so much. So I definitely saw that today, especially today, actually, because of a slight formation change where Jude was playing a little bit deeper. And that's why I say, like, we can't always measure him by goals and assists. We have to measure him with the totality of what he contributes. And when he's playing in a deeper role like that, it's going to be a lot of dropping deep to help escape pressure, to progress the ball, and not so much scoring and assisting, although he almost had an assist today as well. I wanted to bring this up. So there were 2 instances in this game where Real Madrid should have had a penalty. And they were both instances where Vinicius and Brahim, respectively, don't go down easily. They try to maintain their balance and play on. And I think they were both punished for trying to stay on their feet. And people will always say, like, oh, got to get rid of diving. It's, embellishing contact is embarrassing. These are the calls which make players dive and embellish. It's plays like this. If Vinicius goes down in the first half, that's a penalty. If Brahim goes down in the second half, that's a penalty. Ancelotti said after the game, he got booked. Ancelotti himself got booked for telling the referee that Tchouameni shouldn't have gotten a yellow card and the Brahim incident should have been a penalty. And then he gets booked for it. Those are just kind of frustrating challenges that the referee is right there to see. But it's amazing that his perception is distorted enough to only make the call if the player rolls around a little bit.
I'm just upset at like how the contrast between this and the Almeria game, like the way people react to things like this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. I didn't see not a peep from Barcelona fans,
No, of course not.
peep from anybody. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And like it's not even a big deal. Like, there was one wrong decision in the Almeria game. They could have given two penalties and they didn't have to yellow Tchouameni. If this Tchouameni thing affects us Sunday, we might have this conversation a lot louder. Also, from what I'm reading, they retroactively gave Tchouameni a yellow on a play that was called offside. They're ridiculous, man. And it's not. They're just dumb. I mean, I hate referees. Like all referees associations in every sport, they're weirdos. If you're hearing this as a referee, just know we're coming for you one day. Someone will rat you all out. Like we're all coming for you. And like I don't care who messages you because they hear what y'all got a problem. Like y'all deserve some of the heat that comes your way. You don't deserve death threats. But man, like just all weird. And some of I don't know if it's the same case in Spain, but I've heard just weird things about some of who they are as people, like how they end up there as referees. Like it's not.
Wow, this is a scathing attack on anyone who chooses to officiate a game.
Hey man, if you choose to officiate a game, I mean, there are some sports leagues where I know like you can't have cool friends from your association if you're a referee. It's just how it is. You're all weirdos. It's like a fraternity. And the type of person in some sports that the pipeline attracts is just not a very integral person. And I wonder just at some point how that translates to these decisions, just constant silly errors. At the same time, I also will say this is it's hard. I guess it's so much easier to talk out here and like, yeah, you're on the pitch. If someone doesn't fall, like maybe the body language doesn't make it easy for you to pull out the red. But like I said, if this affects us Sunday, I'm sure the conversation will get louder. I think we can win without Tchouameni Sunday, though. I'll just put it out there. Like, we didn't have that Fede Cruz. We weren't comfortable without Tchouameni before, but we've lost him for 2 months now. So I think we can get away with the Fede Cruz double pivot, get Camavinga some minutes off the bench, Jude, Vinny, Rodrigo up front. Oh, wait, I just realized Camavinga has to start because then we don't have enough midfielders. So it's going to be the 4-3-3. I would have loved to Camavinga off the bench with Tchouameni starting in Atleti. So hopefully this doesn't. But man, that felt dumb. For all the same reasons you could say the referees were biased to getting us to win over Almeria, you could argue they screwed us today with both the yellow card and the penalties. So yeah, man, it kind of evened out. Like it evened out in 2 weeks is what's funny.